When it comes to Bees and Honey, which is currently playing at the Robert W. Wilson MCC Theater Space, it feels like a modernized 90s sitcom. I would even say it kind of gives you Martin vibes, but with modern themes and heartening drama. To summarize the play, Jahaira and Manuel, like many couples used to, met by chance. It was at a Washington Heights party, and it seemed to be love at first sight for them. But while love at first sight is a beautiful thing in a moment, stretching that out requires chemistry, and for both of them, there was a question of how long could this chemistry last and how much could it take us through. Jahaira, for example, she is someone who has aspirations to be part of the DA's office as a prosecutor, specifically regarding sexual assault cases. And as for Manuel, he wants to open up multiple mechanic shops, and both of these jobs take up a lot of time. And on top of that, you have to add in their intermingling families, and never mind, because Jahaira is very much about feminism and stuff like that, she wants to have Manuel educate himself and read bell hooks amongst other black feminist literature. And all of this makes it so that throughout watching the play, the laughs are many, hardships are few, but you come to recognize with both of them that love is not an infinite resource. It has to be replenished, and there comes a point where you can see both of them are kind of questioning is there anything left to pull from anymore, as one moment seemingly breaks the proverbial camel's back. When it comes to Bees and Honey, it's split into two parts, broken in between by an intermission. In the first half, you get a sitcom vibe, hence the mention of Martin earlier. And the reason why we mention Martin is because in some ways you can kind of see the title characters, Jahaira and Manuel, kind of feeling like Gina and Martin. Now, yes, Jahaira is definitely not like Gina in terms of her being the butt of the joke, or even being funny in the way that Tisha Campbell Martin was. Or is she just Tisha Campbell at this point? She's not that type of comedy. She gives you good back and forth, has a good one-liner here and there, but she's not playing off a Shanae or any type of crazy character like that. It's pretty much for this whole play just Manuel and Jahaira going back and forth in both beautiful ways showing the romance, other ways showing the chemistry for comedy, and of course the more heartening ways that we'll get to in a second. Now, getting onto the Manuel side, while he doesn't work in radio like I believe Martin did, he is a man's man whose communication is partly rooted in misogyny, or whatever can be considered Washington Heights culture regarding how men speak. And probably what we enjoy most about Manuel, especially early in the show, is that he breaks the fourth wall much more than Jahaira does. And in that interaction, and just him giving looks to certain people throughout the audience, it just hits you in ways that is just hilarious. And throughout the first half, that's what you get. You get the type of comedy, you get the type of love relationship that hooks you in, so that when the second half hits and the drama starts going in, you get real in your feelings about what's happening, both in a way where you kind of like to move your head a little bit because you're mad, but also you could possibly get emotional to the point of crying. So when it comes to the second half of the play, that's when things go from happy romance to things getting real. I would even compare it to, setting aside the comedy of Martin, I would think the second half kind of gives you a vibe of Skins, if you ever watched that show. Specifically the UK version, not the American. For Skins, it's usually split between the first season being all the fun and games, and the second season dealing when the shit hits the fan and things get real. As noted, first half of this play, they find love, relationship is all cute and everything, both are very ambitious and things are good. In the second half, because of how much they work, intimacy is starting to become less of a thing that Jahaira is really committed to, especially because she has to deal with this real serious sexual assault case. At the same time, Manuel's dealing with the fact that his sister-in-law pretty much kicked out his mom, and his brother's not saying nothing, so, he wants to bring her into his house, and she got Alzheimer's, which is a lot to deal with. And when it comes to Jahaira, she not only has his case, which is about sexual assault, but it's also high profile. And then on top of that, Manuel's mother is a pain in her ass. So to bring that into the situation when they already have their stuff going on, you can see that little by little hay is being added to the camel's back, and you're just wondering what is going to be that one thing that ends up breaking them. And then when that one last piece hits, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm not pausing like this because I don't know what the next thing I'm going to say. It's just watching the actors go through that, it just hits you when you kind of reminisce about it, to the point where you can't help but pause, just because of how wrenching it was shown between both of the actors. Going to each specific actor, when it comes to Maribel Martinez, multiple times throughout the show, she's practicing what she's going to say before the judge and the jury. And when I tell you she gives these captivating, what I would expect from a Juilliard trained student type of speeches, that's what she delivers. She is just standing there showing all the passion, and it's not just passion in terms of Jaheira and making sure she's doing a good job, but when she speaks about the cases and everything, it makes you understand that when writers put in dialogue for characters, it's not just about the entertainment value, whether it's entertainment keeping you engaged, laughing, or whatever. It's about you feeling something. It's about when you absorb what someone is saying, you understand the impact, the importance, and that is what Martinez really pushes home, to the point where you can fully understand. And if this actress ever got a one-woman show, it would need to be something that's on your to-do list if you ever came to New York, or if she went on the road with it, you need to go see it live and in person. This isn't to say that when it comes to her scene partner, Xavier Pacheco, something like that, this isn't to say that he's a slouch. Yes, for a lot of the play, he kind of gives comic relief and also can appeal to the guys of the audience in terms of his reaction to some of the things Jaheira says or wants him to do. But as much as he is a bit of a comic relief, that doesn't take away from when the second half hits and his marriage hits Rocky, how much you feel for him. Because it's very easy to laugh at a clown, but when you see them sad, in their emotions, and really going through stuff, it kind of messes with you a bit, because you're used to this person being happy and now they're all messed up, and like him, you enjoy and love Jaheira too much to really blame her, so then you get kind of conflicting feelings, and it makes it so you want to see them reconcile, but then you kind of wonder, are they better without each other? And the way that they go back and forth, especially in the character, it really leaves you to wonder, how is this play going to end? And whether or not, when it comes to the ending, even if it's not the ending that you may want in terms of them getting together or splitting apart, can that really be considered a happy ending? Or is it just what they're comfortable with at that time? And just him being able to trigger and be the catalyst for all these feelings is why he deserves his own highlight just as much as his scene partner. Which leads to the on-the-fence topics, of which there's two and they're rather short. First and foremost, I have to admit, there are times when I wish, instead of Manuel and Jaheira just talking about people, whether it is Manuel's mother, when it's Jaheira's friends, or maybe the people that they work with, I wish so badly we would have got more than just them two on the stage so that we could actually experience them for ourselves instead of getting third-party information. Now, yes, this is an almost 2-hour play, so not having them in definitely saves time and cuts the fat, but I have to admit, the more we hear about certain people, the more I want to just experience them firsthand. The next on the fence topic is, in the beginning, mainly in part 1, they dropped the fourth wall quite a bit. Manuel especially, but even Jaheira did, in terms of when she first meets Manuel and, us getting a sense of her inner thoughts. Maybe about a quarter of the way through the play, they just stopped doing this altogether. And when I tell you, in the second half, when certain decisions are made, there is such a need and desire to know what is going through these people's heads, yet you get nothing. You're back to having to assume, as you would with any other play, TV show, movie, what these people are going through based off of what's presented, instead of you getting the facts about what they truly feel. And I get it. A lot of writers, directors, and all that want to expect the audience's intelligence and yada yada yada, but sometimes I like things plain and simple. Just tell me what these people are feeling so I know if they're someone who thinks or feels like me, or is this going to be a learning experience. Overall, with a sitcom appeal mixed in with the kind of drama that pulls at your heartstrings, and can make you possibly cry, Bees and Honey hits in unexpected ways but shows why off-Broadway plays must be not only sought out but seen.